Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, into the Ysn Power Hour, brought to you by our friends at Toyota of Warren. A very special day, April 11th, 2024, for so many reasons. One of them being that our main dude over at Toyota of Warren dealership, Tino Merlo, is celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Tino! Atta baby! Happy birthday, buddy. Proud of you, and I hope you're enjoying your day. I hope all of you enjoying your day out there, as it is a soggy, soak-filled day here in the Mahoning Valley, in Ashtabula as well, I believe. And I'm going to give you a rundown right off the top before we get to Jim Hannick in his interview about what could we possibly have for you for tonight. As of right now, we have Madison and Edgewood baseball happening 4:30, 5 o'clock. No, these are yesterday's. We don't even have a schedule right now. We don't even have a schedule right now. All right. I'm flying blind. I got nothing. Maybe there's nothing out there today. I know everything at Scene Park is canceled for tonight. My game that was supposed to happen is squashed. But you know what you can do when these games aren't happening? You can still get your skills better. Still hone your skills, I should say. Come on down to athletics. That's where we are. This is our HQ now. This is our headquarters. Come on down. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. Get a little bit better. Use the batting cages. Use the turf. Rent it. Rent the field. You can rent the basketball courts as well. There's swing suites you can rent here. And hey, you might just run into yours truly. You might just run in, and maybe we'll pop an interview. So get down to athletics. This is the Athletic Studios. We're so grateful and thankful to be partnered up with our friends and family here at Athletics. We'd love to see you here. We'd love to see you here. And these things book up quick. So if you're out there right now and you're looking for a place to practice and get better, not just maintain, but get better, you've got to come to Athletics. You got to come to Athletics. Someone who I know very much so is partnering up with Athletics. Jim Hannick, 2018 state champion baseball coach, has continuously put South Range in positions to win over the years. Had a chance to sit down with him for a nice bit earlier today on his I guess his study period. I don't know what you call it, the break period for teachers that they all deserve. So we appreciate him taking time out of his busy day to sit with us. Jim Hannick, a guy that we go back all the way to the beginning of YSN, and the first real championship that we were able to cover on your sports network was the South Range Baseball State Championship. And Jim Hannick has done an excellent job with this team, and he's got another good one. They're off to a 6-1 start. Had a chance to talk to him earlier today. Here is what he had to say. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We have a great opportunity to sit down with one of the area's best baseball coaches of one of the area's best baseball teams here in 2024. A young man who has been to the top of the mountaintop just years ago, 2018 state champion baseball coach, and has been a great coach ever since for the South Range Raiders. Ladies and gentlemen, this time we would invite and welcome my good friend, Mr. Jim Hannick. Jim, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You guys just getting back from Myrtle Beach, a successful trip down there. You said right before we jumped on here, perfectly timed because nobody was playing anything back home. And we were able to play some great ball down in Myrtle Beach and some late night games and able to get some dubs down there. For you, what makes a successful trip down to Myrtle Beach and coming back?
Well, it helps when spring break falls early, just due to the fact that you're able to take advantage of good weather there, and usually we're not getting good weather back here. So usually you come back, I should say, ahead, so to speak. Teams up here didn't play as many games. You played more games down there. The team building, the camaraderie. I mean, wins and losses, yes. I mean, those are important, but they're the team building, the camaraderie that you get from a trip like that, from basically the players living together for the week, eating together, doing activities off the baseball field together. It just really brings the team closer together, and then to come back and get 4 W's down there, play 5 games, go 4-1, just adds to the benefit of it.
Now, obviously, with it being Masters Week, there's a lot of people talking about traditions. What are some of your favorite traditions as you're down there at Myrtle Beach?
We do the Rios night. That's when Rios. This year, I mean, there were a few kids that they tried to out eat each other.
Boy.
It didn't end very well late in the evening, but and looking at some of the kids that were trying to say, well, I'm gonna try to out eat him, and I'm saying you don't got a chance. Like I don't know what you're trying to do, but God bless you, but I don't think you have a chance. This was the first year I didn't get dessert. I went all meat, no salad bar, none of the fluff. I just went all meat, and I couldn't even eat dessert. I had one kid who ate his dessert, finished another kid's dessert, and then finished another kid's dessert.
Holy cow!
I don't even want to think.
He left a little bit on the table. If you're finishing 3 desserts, you left a little bit on the table during the meat session.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it too. Like I wasn't going to get cheated there. Like I can have cheesecake anytime, even though I am a cheesecake connoisseur and love it. I can have it anytime. So,
connoisseur, he says.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so let's take it. Let's step into the cheesecake world for a minute here, Jim.
All right.
What's the best cheesecake? Where does it come from, and what's the flavor?
I mean, I'm partial to Cheesecake Factory cheesecake, of course. I mean, they're
better be the number one.
They're
right?
named after. I mean, you would think, right? It's got to be good. Nicolini's in the area, good cheesecake. Steamer's restaurant, great cheesecake. Matter of fact, Steamer's, it's the peanut butter pie, the homemade peanut butter pie. It's the only time I go away from cheesecake is if I'm at Steamer's.
That's the one, huh?
Yes, the owner's mother makes it. I mean, homemade. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're allergic to peanut butter, obviously it's not your thing.
Yeah, you're out. But it might be worth it in that. You don't know.
Yeah, you might want to roll the dice.
For you, obviously, this has been a special start to the year. You've got guys that are coming out of the woodwork. You've got guys that you've had expectations for the last year or so. Pardon me, that are coming out. Tyler Wardle has been absolutely clutch. Probably in my eyes, and obviously looking at Game Changer and the write-ups on YSN, one of the most clutch hitters in the entire area, if not the entire network on YSN. For you, what have you seen in that particular senior, in Ty, being able to build on what his experience is, and then in those moments with his back against the wall come through for the South Range Raiders?
He's worked hard. I mean, he continues to work hard. He really puts a lot of work in, and I think back to where he was at his freshman year, and it's just crazy the amount of growth that he's amassed right over the course of now 4 seasons, into his 4th season as a senior. He's team captain, and I think he's strong in his faith, and I admire him for the fact, some kids are a little maybe shy about that, but I admire the fact that he's not, and he's very open about it. And I think that has something to do with it as well. I think when you talk about, him being able to rise to the occasion in pressure moments, I think that strong faith base he has, I think he can kind of call upon that. And I think that calms him. I think he's our table setter this year. I kind of saw him as a potential leadoff hitter. We kind of put him into that role in scrimmages and early in the year, and I just absolutely love it. I think he's doing an incredible job for us. He had the big game-winning hit, game-winning RBI against Abbeville Thursday night, and a 0-0 game into the 6th inning, and it was, they threatened early. We threatened the inning prior. Had a runner, I want to say, to second base with 1 out, couldn't push him across. And then, in that next inning, just a huge, I want to say 2-strike. And a lot of his hits have come with 2 strikes this year. And it was I think a 2-strike single through the right side. And we were able to plate, I'm trying to think who was it. So Andrew Bryan, I want to say, was at second base, able to plate him and go up 1-0 and hold on.
Is that you've been doing this for long enough to know and have had so much success at South Range. Is that a scenario where you see that coming up the pike, that leadership that guys like Ty bring, and you look at Tyson Terajak, you look at what Connor Brogan has been able to bring to you, on the mound this year and other places throughout the field. You've had special groups in the past, obviously, and they've gone on and done great things. Is this another one of those groups that you look at and you go, wow, this has the potential to be really special at the end of this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. We lost. I mean, losing Shane Lindstrom, using Billy Skripak last year, Nick Plunkett is a key player, Joey A, right? I mean, we didn't lose many seniors last year. So, we're a young team, but at the same time, we returned a lot of players. We didn't lose a lot off last year's team. And I really think depth, you look at our pitching staff, I think our depth is incredible. I would put it up against any team in the area. I really would. I'm not discrediting anybody else, but I really believe in our guys. I really believe in the pitching that we have. And so far, down in Myrtle, when you got to play 5 games and you got to go deep into your staff, and a lot of quality. We were 60%. One of the stats we kind of look at is wanting to be above 60% strikes, and we were above that mark. Every pitcher down in Myrtle Beach was above that mark. I think they just did a great job commanding the strike zone. And when you throw strikes and locate and can change speeds, you can keep opponents at bay and you can win baseball games.
This is a league in the NE8 that you hear a lot about football throughout the year. Even in April and May, we're hearing about football. This is a really, really good NE8 baseball year. When you look at this, the competition that you have in your own league, is it an iron sharpen iron situation for you guys as you prepare to hopefully, defend a championship and and maybe battle for another state championship here in 2024?
Yeah, I think it is. You're playing bigger schools. I want to say it's us in Lakeview, our Division III schools, and then you look at the other teams in the league, and they're a division higher than you. So, you're playing bigger schools, you're playing good competition, and you're seeing those teams, you're seeing their ones, you're seeing their twos in league play, and there are a number of teams, I think, in the league that have a shot to win it this year. So it's not it's a level playing field in that regards. There's a lot of good baseball teams, and we're kind of excited. We're 2-0 right now in the league, and we're excited to kind of get after it in league play here and see how the dominoes fall.
I mean, you look at the history since YSN has been around, at least, and this has been a heavy pitching program. When you talked about your depth with your pitching staff this year, but the offense, Jim, has come around and they've been clutch. They've been big. We saw the numbers that you put up the other night at Ysn Park. For you, I mean, is it nice to have that balance where you can rely on a little bit of offense, maybe if your pitchers have an off night or vice versa?
Absolutely, and we're doing it throughout the lineup. That's the beautiful thing. I mean, right now I sit down and when I look, there's like, I don't know, 11 to 12 guys that you can run in there on any given night right now in our lineup. And you sit there preseason, and you always are, always optimism, of course, but as you kind of looked at the guys this year in practice and what they've been able to do. And I really think this team offensively can really be special. I mean, as much as I really like our pitching and our defense, and I rave about our pitching, I really think this team can be really, really special offensively. And they're showing at least early in the year, they're showing those signs.
You're a guy more than probably anybody I know in the coaching ranks that relies on analytics and the science and the data of all of the things. And you get as much as you possibly can to make some of the decisions. So I guess my question for you as a guy that is a gut decision maker, is there ever times where you sit there and you go, okay, I got to trust my gut on this one, or I trust the data, I trust, what the numbers show? Where's the balance for you when you're coaching, whether it's in the dugout at third base, making the lineup? How do you kind of make that salad, so to speak?
I look at, input, captains to an extent, have input in terms of kind of how they feel, like where the team's at. I like to touch base with the captains and just kind of have a feel for where the team is at, because sometimes they have a little bit better idea of where the feel is just day in and day out within the locker room. I think there's got to be data used. Obviously, I mean we track stats and we keep those stats, and there are those key stats, right, that pretty much everybody would agree on that are important. On base percentage, quality bats, batting average, etc. But then there is the element of gut, and I think there has to be a balance. And a lot of in-game, I would say, usually it kind of falls on gut. In terms of those in-game decisions, a lot of them kind of, I think it's a mix. I think you got to look at data in terms of maybe how you put your lineup together, but then in game, you got to just kind of see how the game's evolving. For example, a kid who's looked poorly at the plate, let's say the first two at bats, hey, it's just not your day, son. We'll run a pinch hitter up there, and we have that luxury this year. Where some years you don't. Here's my 9, and I'm gonna live and die by it. But I think we have some depth.
No, and I love hearing that. It's great to hear from you, because I mean I value what you do so much, because you dive deep into the data, the launch angles, the things of that nature when you're talking about the offense, and it's coming around. Almost you're ahead of the curve, Jim, and you've been that way for the last few years, that everybody's trying to play catch up to you, and now they're going through stuff that maybe you did 2019, obviously we missed 2020, but you look at what you've been able to do. It's impressive. It's impressive to say the least. And I'm not doing that just to fluff you up a little bit. But one of the things that I'm really interested is so many coaches have different angles on how to keep their kids, I want to say entertained, but keep them getting better on a daily basis. When you go from what you guys did down in Myrtle Beach, and that's play scheduled games, to coming home and you don't know when the next time you're going to play is, how do you keep your guys active and not stale and in the gymnasium and things of that nature, so that way you keep their interest, you keep their attention, hopefully you can keep the string of wins going along the way?
It's a challenge. There's two sides. There's, hey, if we didn't go south, we would be, there's a couple ways to look at it, right? You don't go south, you don't get many games in, that presents a challenge. But then the other, which you pointed to, right, and sometimes overlooked, is, hey, we go down there and we play all these games and we're playing day in and day out, one after another, and you kind of get on a roll, and then, right, you come back home and you come back home to just sitting. So I think time off, I think there's a balance of some time off, some shorter practices. Today, for example, after school, we're just going to hit.
Yeah.
We're just going to get up in the cages and hit a little bit. We do play we have light flight balls. We actually play a point game in the gym. The kids really get into it. We have the kids pick teams. We just sometimes we'll go with the captains, or we just designate 2 people as team captains. They pick their squad, just basically how you would if you were playing a playground basketball game. And then we kind of hit these foam balls from one end to the other, and based on where it hits, if it hits the back wall, it's 1 point. If it hits the railing, it's 2 points. And we kind of have a point system working up into the mezzanine. So it kind of rewards the high line drive, the low line drive a little bit. And we just compete 3 outs, change sides. And, that kind of, you're still working, right? I mean, you're still getting work. You're still working on the swing. There's still, right, an element of, bettering your craft, but at the same time, it's a friendly competition. And, I like to see the kids compete. I think you got to learn. I think, learning to compete, it needs to be learned. And, that's a skill that we're not playing games, but yet we still want to be in that competitive mode. And I think that allows a balance of both.
Competition's key, always is. Last question I have for you, and this is going to be interesting, because this is a question that, I guess, a topic that has kind of arisen this year here locally, and it comes to do with success and how people value and view success. And as someone who has won the ultimate game and ultimate series in the OHSA tournament in 2018, there's a lot of coaches, Jim, that are being judged on what they, both baseball and softball, by the way, that have, how many state championships have you had? How many have you brought back to this community? And I think that, South Range is very interesting because it's a small community, but a very powerful one that is very good at and excellent in a lot of different places to bring back championships like you've done and like others have done at South Range. But others in other communities are being judged because they haven't brought any back. For you, what words of wisdom would you pass along to maybe these coaches, these communities, for expectations for a state championship and how truly challenging it is to get one any year, let alone year after year?
Well, I mean, I think, ultimately, right. What are you here for? You're here for the kids. You're here to serve the kids. And, winning a state championship, it's great. I think it's every coach's, it's their aspiration. I mean, everyone wants to, right? I mean, especially if you've been there, if you've went down to those games and you've watched the dog pile, which, I did for several years before I was married and had, obligations that, would keep me from just making that big weekend trip when it was down in Columbus. But you watch that and you just can't help but just, man, I would love that. I would love to have that moment. And unfortunately, right, I mean, currently with 4 divisions, there's 4 teams that get to end their season in that manner, right, in each division. And I think if you're judged solely on that and you're looking at that as the ultimate goal and nothing else matters, I think you're missing a lot. I just think you're missing the impact that you have on your players day in and day out. They're learning life lessons playing the game of baseball, and you're making those players better. So we kind of take we want a developmental approach. I want each and every one of my players to come on my program better, just better ball players, better kids. And look, when they come out, I want them to be well-rounded adults, right? I mean, they're moving on from high school, they're young adults, right? And I want them to be able to go on and major in whatever they're majoring and be successful in school, be successful fathers someday, right? And raise families of their own. So, I think that aspect's important. And look, to what you said about winning a state championship and getting to that, even just getting there, there's an element of luck. There's skill. Don't get me wrong, but I look back and you referenced the 2018 team. I look back. There were a few moments throughout that tournament that, the line drive. Yeah, it could have went either way. The championship game could have went either way. You're talking a line drive down the third base line that was foul by 4-6 inches. If that ball's fair, maybe we lose 4-3.
Yep.
So
it's incredible. For this topic, and it wasn't just one school, there was many, and we caught wind of it. And I'm thinking to myself, that I don't think people realize how challenging it is and how much goes into it, how many years go into winning one state championship. And obviously everybody gets excited about it. And then it's tough to go back. We've seen that with your program. It is a challenge, and it's not something that's ever guaranteed to you.
No. And especially, you talk the sport of baseball. There's a reason you play a series, right? If you look at Major League Baseball, they play series. The game of baseball wasn't meant, to decide which team is better, wasn't meant to be a one-game format. Unfortunately, look, it has to be that way. But even in college, right, they play the super regionals, and then they have a losers bracket, right? When they get to the NCAA tournament, they have a losers bracket where a team can have an off day, but look, you still have a chance. Whereas, look, in our format, one bounce here or there you go.
Last question for you. I know I already lied. I already told you there was one. I got one for you. Being that you are the pitching guru and come from the pitching background and the lover of all things pitching, how does the pitch clock strike you?
You know what?
I'm sure you read the reports this last week about all the injuries and
they're attributing some of the arm injuries they're attributing to the pitch clock and just I think it's sad that they had to institute a pitch clock to kind of speed the game up. I get it. It's for the fans in general, to try to increase interest or hold interest, right? Just people, and I think it's just society today. we want it now, right? We're a want it now type of, we have everything. I mean, just at the touch of our fingers with our phones, etc. We want pace. And I agree. I like aspects of it. Even as a coach, it's more watchable now. You know what I mean? For me to flip it on, it's just because the action is there. But I just think when guys step out of the batter's box and they got to unfasten their gloves 3-4 times, like after every pitch, it's like, change your routine.
Yep.
I mean, I get it. It's your routine, but you can't tell me that was your routine. It evolved into that.
Yeah. If the OHSA came to you right now and said, "Hey, we want to deploy the pitch clock," what would you say?
I think high school moves at a good clip now, but if that's something they were going to do, I think, you kind of prepare and, you coach around it in terms of calling your pitches. You're ready. And I like my pitchers to work fast. I like them to work in rhythm. And usually, right, you're calling a pitch. Okay, if this is a strike, we're going here. If it's a ball, we're going here. So you already kind of have that next pitch in your head as to what you're going to throw.
Love it. Jimmy, thank you so much for the time. I know I went over time, so I apologize for that. But taking time out of your busy day to talk to us, you are always welcome. Please let me know and continue the great stuff, man. It's fun watching your team and fun watching you coach.
All right. Thanks, DJ. I appreciate it.
You got it. It is the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Everything electrical. All you got to do is call my friend Eric over at Joe Dickey Electric. He'll get you hooked up with his whole crew over there. And folks, there's nothing electric about the weather that's going on right now. A terrible, 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 terrible stretch. We're getting some games in. We're getting word that we were hanging on, but we just got a big push of bad weather across the valley. So I'm not sure how many other games are still left out there just hanging. So if you have a chance, and honest to gosh, this is not a push. This is not, if you're looking to get better, you need to get and call athletics right now. Get down here and obviously fill up the cages, fill up the fields, and make your team better, because tomorrow doesn't look great either. It doesn't look great either when you look at Storm Tracker 21. There's a lot of question marks. And obviously, if it's soaked today, unless you've got AstroTurf or turf in general, you're probably not playing tomorrow, because there's been a lot of rain starting last night into today. And that, unfortunately, is a negative spark here today. Not a whole lot of games being played across the network, but those arms will be rested when it's time to go. I want to thank Jim Hannock for stopping by the show today. We know it's abbreviated. Some things going on today. We got to make sure that we handle our business. We'll have plenty of stories tonight, ysnlive.com. Hopefully get some interviews as well. Again, thanks Jim Hannock, the head baseball coach of South Range, for joining us earlier today. Thank you for joining us as well. We couldn't do it without you, and we wouldn't want to. We wouldn't want to do it without you each and every day right here on YSN. On behalf of all of us at the network, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here for the YSN Power Hour, proudly powered by our friends at Toyota of Warren. See you. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your sports network. For stories, stats, and more, go to YSN Live.